Mr. Black.
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 And welcome, children. I am Mr. Black, your head counselor.
Alright, I'm getting tired of this. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple years, you know that Mr. Black is a coffee liqueur that has taken the world by storm. But I live in Canada, and it's not available here. So, of course, I have to make my own. This is another episode of things I have to make myself because I can't find them here. We are making Cold Brew Coffee Liqueur. So, we're going to make a liqueur, and then we're going to make an awesome cocktail with said liqueur. And then with the help of the Tribal Bar guy, we're going to taste the cocktail. And don't forget to head over to Peter's channel. He's making his own coffee liqueur. Wow. That's good. All right, let's do it. Now, before we start, I do want to reiterate that this is not an imitation Mr. Black. I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know what it tastes like. This is a formula for creating and customizing your own coffee liqueur. So the formula is 3 components: spirit, coffee, and sugar. You create those 3, and then you figure out the ratios, what do you prefer, and you really customize your own liqueur. So for my spirit base, I'm using Wray & Nephew. It's an overproof rum. If you wanted something more neutral, you could go with vodka, but I'm going to use this because I love it, and I'm going to infuse it with some coffee. So whole coffee beans, 4 tablespoons, and I'm going to add a cup of my Wray & Nephew rum. We're going to let that infuse for about 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. Okay, that's it for the spirit component. On to the coffee. We're going to make cold brew. Now we need a coarse ground here, and the ratio I like is 1 to 4 by volume. Very important, by volume. So 1 part of ground coffee to 4 parts of water. Now, obviously I made a whole lot more than I need for the liqueur, but I love cold brew, so it's all good. All right, and there we go. 48 hours later, we've got our cold brew, we've got our infused rum, and we have to strain both. We're just going to strain both into their respective containers through coffee filters. The cold brew will take some time, but the rum will filter pretty quickly. All right, while those are filtering, we need to make a rich turbinado syrup. That's going to be my sugar component. So 1 part water to 2 parts turbinado sugar. I will do this on the stove because the crystals are pretty thick. But once everything's done and the sugar's cooled off, let's build our coffee liqueur. So the ratio I went for is the 50, 35, 15, which comes to about 1 cup of our infused rum to 3/4 cup of our cold brew. So 3/4 of that. And again, that's the beauty of this formula. You figure out the ratio. Do you want a sweeter liqueur? Do you want a drier liqueur? Do you want a neutral spirit? Do you want a flavorful spirit like rum or whiskey? You can make this whatever you want. And lastly, 1/4 cup of our turbinado sugar. Next time I make this, I might go even less. What are you doing? And there it is. You know we're going to slap on a sexy label and bottle our nice, awesome, homemade coffee liqueur. This stuff is incredible. So, obviously I couldn't taste this and compare it to Mr. Black. What I could do is compare it to Kahlua and the Jameson Cold Brew, and I will mention a little bit of that later on when I'm tasting with Peter, but basically, Kahlua, way too sweet. Jameson, nice coffee flavor, but it's felt a little diluted for me. Mine really packs a punch with that overproof rum and that just intense coffee flavor. So, for our cocktail, we're going to make a Dominicana. It's a simple cocktail. We're going to need some lightly whipped cream, and this is the way I like to whip cream for cocktails. You don't want fully whipped cream because that's just too thick. You want something that you can still drink, but it's going to be aerated enough that it can sit on top of the cocktail. Okay. So, just a little whip. You'll know when it's like thick, but it still runs. Transfer that to another container. Okay, so for this drink, we need equal parts 1.5 ounces of our coffee liqueur. It's amazing stuff. I'll be doing lots of batches of that. Very happy with how that came out. And next up, we've got a dark aged rum. I'm using Havana Club 7. Wonderful rum. It's one of my favorites. I use this a lot, go through quite a few bottles. So that's it. There's only 2 ingredients for the base of this drink. So now we're going to add some ice to our mixing glass. It is a mixed drink because it's just booze. All right, grab your spoon, give it a nice stir, 15-20 seconds, get a nice chill, get a nice dilution going. Lovely. Set that aside. We're going to serve this in a chilled Nicanora. Coupe would work fine, but you want something nice and stemmed. All right, get your strainer and into the glass. All right, you want to leave a good wash line at the top because now we're going to layer on our lightly whipped cream. So using the back of a spoon, just carefully pour it in, and it should sit right on top. That's why we want lightly whipped. It's not fully whipped cream, so you can still drink it, still liquid, but it's nice and aerated, so it'll sit on top of the liquid. If it's not whipped enough, it'll sink. Okay, for garnish, we're going to do a light grating of nutmeg, and just going to give the top a nice aroma, and it's just going to look beautiful. Look at that. And there it is, guys, the Dominicana. Fantastic, simple 3-ingredient cocktail using our homemade cold brew coffee. Amazing. All right, well, let's head off to the tasting room and give this guy a try.
All right, guys, cheers. I am here with Peter from the Tribal Bar Guy, and we're going to taste the Dominicana. So right off the bat, it looks pretty awesome, right? Coffee, rum, a nice cream layer on top with some nutmeg. So cheers, Peter, and let me know what you think. Wow. That's good. I like that. Yeah. Unbeknownst to the audience, once you're watching this, I made this incorrectly at first. I blended all the ingredients together. And though it wasn't bad, this is much better. So layering the cream, it's kind of like, it starts off kind of like an Irish coffee because you're going through the cold cream. But I mean, there's no warmth here like an Irish coffee. You're going through the cold cream, and then I guess the rum hits you. When I blended everything together, that cream masked the rum so much. But this, I get the strong coffee from the liqueur, and I get the strong rum. What rum are you using? A different rum, eh?
I'm using Flor de Caña 7 years.
Yeah, I'm using Havana 7.
Okay.
But so yeah, they're both aged dark rums.
Okay.
So yeah, let me know what you're thinking.
To be honest, I took only one sip and I'm instantly in love.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Once I got the ingredients, it's like, okay, it's similar to, I don't know, to White Russian or that type of drinks.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, this one with the floral notes from the rum.
Yeah, I guess.
So well, it's kind of wow.
I guess I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, it's very similar to a White Russian, just with no vodka. And as many people have stated, I myself or Andrew at the Angry Cocktails, vodka is bullshit. So you change vodka with anything, and it's instantly better. Yeah, it's very, very White Russian. Yeah, very similar to a White Russian. How's your liqueur working on this one? Because, yeah, go ahead.
It's quite good. My liqueur currently, one of the reasons why I start with that is to be able to control more the sweetness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in that sense, it's slightly more on the bitter side. So I guess if you use a commercial brand, probably it will be slightly more sweet. But anyhow, it blended quite well.
Mine as well. I mean, I've comparing this to White Russian, I've only ever had White Russians made with Kahlua. I don't have access to Mr. Black, or we do have. I mean, we have some fancier coffee liqueurs here, but nothing like like a Mr. Black. that I know of anyways. I compared my liqueur to when I did the tasting earlier, I compared my liqueur to Kahlua and to the other coffee liqueur that I have, which was the Jameson Cold Brew. It was closer to the Jameson in the sense that, I mean, Kahlua is just way too sweet. And it's closer to the Jameson, although Jameson I find a little too mild for my taste. It's very toned. I mean, Irish whiskey is toned down. You taste the whiskey, you taste the coffee, but everything is kind of seems diluted almost. For mine, I used Ray and Nephew rum, so that rum flavor is really pronounced. And I infused the rum as well as making a cold brew, a fairly stiff cold brew, and very low on the sweetness. And the sugar, I used a rich turbinado sugar and turbinado syrup, and it's only makes up about 15% of the bottle. So very, very mild on the sweet. It's there. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet. So very happy with the way the liqueur turned out. And this drink, the specs, now that I read over the specs, it does say you can add a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup if needed. If you're using a drier, like if you're using Mr. Black, I've never tasted it, but I'm told it's almost like sweetless, like no sweetness at all. Then you might want that 1/4 ounce of sweetness. But overall, very, very good.
Cool.
Anything else to add?
No, I mean, I didn't have, or I don't have easy access to Mr. Black. The prices I find online, it's really, I assume it should come in golden foil or something to justify the shipping price. So, but yeah, usually I use either Kahlua or, as you know, I'm quite obsessed with Gifar. But both of them are quite.
I never tried that one. Yeah. Don't have access to that one either.
It's similar in sweetness to Kahlua.
Okay.
So in that sense, I wanted something slightly drier because, as you say, for some drinks you prefer to be less on the sweet side. But
wow, this is very good, guys. I recommend Dominicana. If you've got Mr. Black, if you've got a drier style coffee liqueur, definitely try this drink. It is really good. And don't forget to check out Peter, the Tribal Bar Guy. He made his own coffee liqueur. So go over to his channel, give him a like, give him a subscribe, and check out that video where we will be tasting his drink. So we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around for the tasting and stick around to the very end. Hope you give this one a try, and we will see you next time. Cheers, guys.